Hola y bienvenidos a Lightspeed Spanish. This week we are talking about how in Spanish you can insult somebody and be polite at the same time. Hablamos de todo esto en la segunda parte.
Ojalá tuviera yo un español más decente.
So you might be asking, how can you insult somebody and be polite at the same time? Well, in English, you can't. Or should I say, it's not very common. If you're going to insult somebody in English, you're just going to insult them. We normally don't. We don't like doing this confrontational style. We prefer to say, yes, I enjoyed that meal very much, thank you. And then we get home and then we put a terrible review about it on the internet. That's the British style, which is let's not make a big deal of it until we get home. But here in Spain, no, they have developed a system of being able to insult somebody whilst maintaining respect at all times. How do they do it? They use usted. So just so you understand, here in Spain, if you're talking to one person, you can tutear, which is talking to them using tú. You are my friend. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Qué haces? You're my friend. And then they have usted, which I suppose would be one in English. Usted has changed. It's morphed over the years. Where it stands now, what I see, certainly in the area in which I live, I'm not talking about the whole of Spain, so don't get upset, but in the area that I live, I see usted having two jobs. Being respectful to elderly people. And I see most people, especially the older generation, when they talk to elderly people, they use usted. And it's just a total respect thing. Beautiful. When you want to put a bit of distance between you and the person, when you want to say to the person, you are not my friend, we don't have a relationship, if you're a little bit ticked off by them, if they're trying to sell you something that you don't want, if they're trying to be your mate and you don't want them to be your mate, what they do is they use usted, and it kind of puts this barrier here. And it's like this double-edged sword of, I don't want to be your friend, but I'm going to be respectful. And this happens when you're a bit ticked off with somebody, when you want to insult somebody and you want to keep a distance there and you don't want them to think that they're your friend. You use usted and you say things like this. This is what I've heard. Usted es imbécil. You are an idiot, an imbecile. But usted, it's like this oxymoron of I'm polite and I'm insulting you. Usted es imbécil. This one I like in particular. There's one that I've heard that I thought was hilarious. When somebody says to somebody else, they're annoyed with them and they say, Usted es un poco gilipollas, ¿verdad? And in English that would be, one is a bit of a dickhead, isn't one? I mean, we would never say that in English. We couldn't say it. It just wouldn't make sense. But that's basically what they're saying. I suppose in English we could say, you, sir, are a bit of a dickhead. That would be exactly, I suppose, the way. But we just don't do that. Usted da bastante pena. In English we would say, I feel very sorry for you, literally. And they say, usted da bastante pena. In our group where we live, once there was this audio exchange. Oh my goodness, it was very heavy. Lots of insulting going on. And I recall this lady, elderly lady, put an audio and she said, Usted es un poco gilipollas para mi gusto. And it seemed so funny to me that they would use usted, para mi gusto. And so now, Cynthia and I, my beautiful wife, whenever we are maybe saying something a bit strong to one another, we finish with para mi gusto, just to make it a bit lighter. And the one I think which is top of the shop, the insult, the respectful insult that I love that I've heard is this one, where somebody says to somebody, váyase usted un poquito a la mierda. Which is just the best insult that I've ever heard. Go you, sir, a little bit to shit. Well, we would say go to hell, yeah? But they say, váyase usted un poquito a la mierda. Obviously, un poquito is what makes it even funnier for me, but they don't always say that. They just say, váyase a la mierda usted. Okay, but un poquito a la mierda for me is just the best. And I use it wherever I can. Clearly, it's not something that British people do. We don't just freely insult people to the face. We always do it secondhand, unless we're really angry. And so, for all students of the Spanish language, don't leave usted out. Learn usted, even if it's just so that at some point you can say to somebody, usted es imbécil. Y te vas a quedar tan a gusto después de eso, joder. Vale, chicos, muchas gracias por estar conmigo. Cuidado con eso, ¿eh? Que no vayas por España insultando a la gente usando usted. Aunque uses usted, es un insulto. Así que con mucho cuidado. Hasta luego, chicos. Os quiero mucho.
Ojalá tuviera